would that indicate that we're at a different state, at a different level of awareness, so that we're headed to a different...
Some people go to different places, perhaps.
What would that indicate to a paranormal expert?
It could well be that somebody that I mean, how long were he dead for?
I think it was 2 minutes.
Well...
His heart was stopped. They brought him back in surgery. They had a... Is it a defect?
Right. Well, it could be that he just weren't gone long enough.
Long enough.
You know, who's to say, really? You know, but I mean, I know somebody that had a serious operation. They had a brain tumour and they had it removed, and they had an experience, and they went down the tunnel, and she wouldn't talk about it, and I were asking her, and she said I could ask one question. And I said to her...
Oh, did you have a question to ask?
I know, yeah. And I said to her, did you see God? And she said, yeah. And right away, I said, what were you like?
That suggests 10 more questions,
yes.
doesn't it? Yeah.
And she wouldn't tell me, and she wouldn't tell me how else, except that he wasn't like we see him on pictures, which right away made me say, well, what were you like then?
Could you not beat it out of her?
No.
One question seems
it is difficult.
Very difficult proposition.
I wouldn't know. I'd have to think about that. I don't know what I would have asked there.
Well, I thought, and you know, thought, what question can I ask?
You're listening to our first paranormal podcast, and the question that we're discussing is there life after death? So let's move on a little bit then. Let's accept that there's life after death. Let's accept that we go on somewhere. Do you think then we can communicate with spirits? Do you believe in ghosts, I suppose, is the next question. Mary?
Yes, I do. Most definitely.
Is that based on personal experience?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Most
Martin?
definitely.
I can't definitively say yes or no that there aren't such a thing as ghosts.
Have you had any personal experiences that have made you wonder?
On a number of occasions, yeah. In my very own house, I've had a couple of experiences that have kind of opened my eyes to the possibility.
Okay. Do you want to describe one?
It's not so much specific incidents, but it's feelings, moments that are just they're gone. They're here, then they're gone. Cold spots.
No.
Thinking you see a shadow out the corner of your eye, but there's no lights or anything in the room to cast a shadow. Just strange little things that can't quite be explained by any natural means.
Have you ever seen anything substantive? Have you ever seen... I want to say a figure, and by that you can take it male, female, any shape, any size. Have you ever actually seen, and I'm not talking about corner of your eye, but maybe for like 2 seconds or longer, a figure that's made you think, wow?
I've never physically seen any figure that has made me think, oh...
Yeah, what's that?
It hasn't walked into nothing. I've never seen anything like that.
Okay.
I've had a couple of experiences that have made me raise my eyebrow. Okay. But nothing that would make me positively 100% believe that there are ghosts, although my mind is open to it.
So I'm going to say you're open to the possibility.
So if there's any passing through and they want to come and say hiya, don't worry about it, just I'll believe it when I see it. That's the way I
fair enough. We'll just, in the spirit of a good EVP, electronic voice phenomena experiment, we'll just leave the next few seconds open. We'll say if any ghosts are around us now, this could be a world first, this could be earth shattering this, feel free to say hello or what you think of the show so far. It'll be interesting to play that back.
Absolutely.
That ride, the 3 seconds of dead earth. or someone going, rubbish, you know what you're talking about. You know. Okay, so let's say there is. You're open to it, Mary, you're pretty certain about the fact there'll be ghosts. Do you think then these ghosts can interact? What form do you think they take? Are they the kind of white sheet kind of floaty nonsense you see on Scooby-Doo, or are they solid and real people, or are they out in between? Do you think it's possible for us to interact with?
I think they fall into different categories. I think there's some that can interact, and I think there's some that are just replays, if you will. You know, if you go to a place where in the past something bad's happened. I think it's like recorded into fabric at building, and you will see it replayed.
So when you say triggered. A replay, they can't see you.
Yeah, no.
You couldn't affect that.
No.
There's nothing you could do to change what goes on.
No, that will happen whether there's anybody there or nobody there, and if somebody walks in front of them, no, they don't know you're there. No.
So what about the category that we can interact with then?
Oh, that's a different ball game. You've got a few different ones there. You've got poltergeist activity that has one or two branches to it. You've got young children that are in between young and adult, and they can create an energy that can move things and do it, and they don't know it's.
This would be poltergeist activity.
Yeah, they're just causing it, and they're not aware.
Okay. Well, there's been a lot of poltergeist activity. If we want to be fair and balanced, there's been also poltergeist activity that's been found to be kids chucking stuff
playing
about
up.
for attention.
Oh yeah. But there is cases where there's an household and it's having problems with stuff moving and breaking and things like that. And when they've looked into it, it has been stemming from the children or one of the children, and nobody's known until they've really investigated it. Then there's the other poltergeist. You'll get a mischievous spirit that enters your house by whichever way it enters, and that causes problems. That kind of poltergeist can actually cause injury. It can actually
go into meaning to cause injury, or the fact that it throws something and you get in where.
Well, it's debatable that, because there were a case in Blackburn where a lady were particularly fond of using a Ouija board, and she did it for years and everything were okay, no problem. But one particular time, after she'd been doing it, she got a lot of bangs and bumps in her house, and she couldn't understand where it, just what it were. And one particular day, her daughter were going upstairs for about 11, something like that, and she actually on stairs got picked up, a foot or more off floor, and flung.
Picked up by an invisible force,
and just thrown down, rest at stairs. And at that point, when this woman saw it, they packed up that day, just a few clothes, and moved out and left all the furniture, left everything, never went back. So, I mean, for someone to be able to pick a child up of 11 and physically throw it, that's aiming to injure.
Yeah,
it's an
fair assumption.
Yeah. And
when you're talking about Ouija boards, Martin, have you ever took part in a Ouija board, or been tempted to, or been there while one's gone
on? I've been there while one's gone on. I didn't actively take part in it myself, and to be honest, it was more of wasn't exactly what you call a professionally organised affair. It was more a case of a few bottles of cheap beer, and something to do on a Friday night, and nothing ever came of it. But there were no serious participants in it anyway. So I do believe with anything like that, if there is such a thing as being able to conduct the spirits through the Ouija board, then I believe people have actually got to be serious and actually believe that it's going to be a possibility.
Do it proper.
Instead of just getting half cut and then seeing what happens for it laugh.
See, it's a funny thing is a Ouija board. I mean, took part in one at Mains Hall myself. You first thought with a Ouija board is people push, and if people wanted to, they could do. There's ways to manipulate
it.
In my opinion, there's a lot of these programs that come on telly that will move on to these paranormal programs that do Ouija board sessions, and if you look, you can see what they're doing. Any second-rate magician will be able to tell you exactly how to recreate the effects that they get. I found, because I insisted on sitting in on first part of it, and we filmed the Ouija board session, the glass rather than feeling a push from left to right, there's almost a push from underneath it. And it's almost like it hovers, like, you know, like air hockey that you play, where the thing floats.
Almost as it lifts the glass.
Yeah, and it's almost like a push up and along, rather than a scratch along the table, almost. And I have to say that it was genuine, it got going.
Could that not be manipulated, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it'd be difficult.
Because you've a solid table.
Yeah, I've
and
been
a
checked
glass.
out. Yeah, we checked out a table. It were thick.
Yeah.
I think it were oak. It were a thick piece of wood.
Yeah.
The table. The glass were a glass that I chose. There were no like magnets or any sort of gimmick that you could see. You know what I mean? The cards were random. They were all not like A, B, C, D. They were just chucked haphazard. And the speed of it. I've not showed you DVD. You put it on DVD.
No, I've not seen it.
I must show you that. And it moves after a little bit of indistinct pushing about. It goes, and it's like taking you with it, if you will. It moves around, and there's you have to have somebody writing down the letters, because when it gets shifting, it shifts quickly from
It
letter
also
to letter.
leaves fingers behind.
Yeah.
When it moves,
because you're
when
supposed
they
to
move
touch
quick.
the glass kind of lightly and rather than dig your finger in, also rest your finger on it.
And they
Just
do
let it guide you.
they do go that quick that they do leave people's fingers behind. You know,
and in this instance, the thing gave some information that we didn't know. There were quite a few of us that were there, and it gave information about people that they hadn't volunteered. These were people that we hadn't met on the night, and the thing wouldn't go at the end, because you're supposed to close down the Ouija board and dismiss things, and it really were insistent. It kept saying no, because it wanted to talk to...
It had some more to get
It had more to talk to this girl in question, you know.
That's the problem, because really Ouija boards should never be used, because when anybody starts off, be it, you know, whether it's for a bit of fun or whatever, if the spirit won't go, everybody gets up and goes away. You've invited that in, and that's when you can have real problems in your house, and sometimes people have had to call professionals in to cleanse the house, if you will, because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it real problems. Also, you get people using Ouija boards and they end up with real psychological problems needing treatment. You know, it's not to be recommended, really.
So if somebody were listening to this, and it's fairly obvious if they downloaded a paranormal podcast, they've got an interest in the paranormal, and if they were considering having a go,
I'd say leave it alone, don't do it.
Well, if I can just jump in there to ask someone who's got a lot more knowledge about this than me. As I say, I've never actively participated in a Ouija board session, but I've been present once taken place, as has my brother. Okay, completely at different ends of the scale. As in, my brother was completely baffled by what he saw and the power of what he saw.
It's fair to say.
And I got exactly what I expected, which was just a lot of messing about. But the same props were in use. So what would be the difference between those two sessions?
Well,
what makes the difference apart from the attitude of the people taking part?
Well, there's been cases where people have done that. You know, they've had a few cans of beer and
a few sherbets, aye.
You know, just for a laugh, they said, you know, come on, let's have a do. And they're all wanting a do, and they're all thinking, yeah, there's note in it, you know, just... But sometimes there's been real problems. There has been real problems. Sometimes it's been that bad. Priests have had to come in, and they've been frightened to death.
What do you think makes the difference, though? What do you think opens the doors to the force that I felt that Morrison didn't feel?
Is it
the conditions?
The
seriousness, perhaps? Is it
no, what I think it is, it depends on the place, what spirits are hanging around.
We were in a supposedly haunted location. Menzo, near Fleetwood, is allegedly has plenty of ghosts knocking around it. Yeah.
But like in ordinary houses where people think, oh no, it's going to happen, you know, there is things around, and they're not always good. Well, and you do that, and you'll just bring them in, and it's getting rid of them that's really difficult.